Welcome back, everybody, to the show. Today we're talking about the draft. The NFL Draft 2025 is almost here, just in a couple of weeks. And we're talking about, could Ashton Jeanty fall to Seattle at number 18? What about Jalen Milroe? And a new mock draft from CBS. All of that and more right here today on Seahawks Now. But first, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that red subscribe button right down below. It really helps the channel out. And thank you so much, guys, to our first 200 subscribers. Love talking ball with you guys. Let's begin, guys. Ashton Jeanty, the talk of the town, man, the best running back in the draft. Could he fall to the Seahawks at number 18? I think he could, and I think if he does, it'd be a hard player to pass up. Everybody knows about Ashton Jeanty at this point. If you don't, a little bit of background, obviously, he played for Boise State. One of the coolest stories of last year, the college football season, was Boise State going 12-1. They ended up making the college football playoff. They got the number 3 seed, which, you could discuss. You could argue that maybe they didn't deserve the number 3 seed because they played in the Mountain West, but either way, they did. They got the number 3 seed. They got to play in the college football playoffs, and they would not have done it without their superstar running back, Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty had an amazing season. For a while, he was on pace to break the college rushing yards record. He ended up not breaking that record. He did fall short, but still put together a really, really good season. He scored a ton of touchdowns. He was by far the best running back in the country and made himself a significant draft target for any team in the league this year. But specifically, I want to look at the Seahawks, right? The Seahawks, do they need another running back? They do already have K9, Kenneth Walker. They do already have Zach Charbonnet, but a guy like Ashton Jeanty would be hard to pass up. And I think that, looking at where he could fall, some people are projecting that he is going to be a top 10 pick. Other people think he's a top 20 pick. I think if he falls to 18, the Seahawks should get him, and I'd even consider trading up. Look at these numbers. I mean, this is phenomenal. The touchdown mark alone, 29 touchdowns. Nobody scores 29 touchdowns in college anymore. And again, you can say, well, he was playing subpar competition. He was playing against, New Mexico and Utah State and Washington State. Those are still D1 teams. Those are still D1 teams that he played against. Still teams that were full of 3-star and even 4-star recruits. Still teams that are coached by million-dollar level coaches, and still teams that have massive fan bases that show up and have loud environments, and it didn't affect him at all. It didn't phase him at all. 2,600 yards, 29 touchdowns, 185.8 yards per game, 7 yards per attempt. He is not much of a receiving back. He only caught 23 passes for 138 yards, but that doesn't matter when you are as dynamic of a runner as Ashton Jeanty is. I watched him play against my team, the Washington State Cougars. He demolished them. He was bouncing off of tackles left and right. He has everything. He has elusiveness, speed, contact, yards after contact. He can do it all. He is like, honestly, I don't even know who to compare him to in the NFL. I guess you compare him a little bit to Derrick Henry, but he's quicker than Derrick Henry. I think he's more elusive than Derrick Henry. He's not as much of a pure power back. He can be a power back if you need him to be. He can also be that elusive, quick guy out of the backfield. So he's like a two-headed monster, but just one of him. And I do think that if he is available at 18, the Seahawks should absolutely pick him up. Could he fall? Yeah, why couldn't he? I mean, players all the time, it all depends on need. Is there a team that needs him before Seattle? You could argue every single team in the league needs an upgrade at running back. He could be an upgrade for every single team. They don't know that yet. But if teams think that they need a receiver more, they need edge more, they need offensive line more, yeah, he could fall to 18. And if he does, I think it'd be hard for the Seahawks to say no. I mean, I understand they need to beef up the offensive line. I understand they need defense. But if Ashton Jeanty's there, how can you decline on the best running back prospect in a very long time? I mean, I think he's a better running back prospect probably than Bijan Robinson, who everybody thought was going to be great and turned out to not be very good. The difference is Jeanty has had better production in college. The only fear with him is the question of the competition, right? Did the Mountain West really make it that much easier for him? Personally, after watching a year of Mountain West football, I don't think that Mountain West is that much worse than these other conferences. That is the only reason why Jeanty had the gaudy numbers that he did, but that's just me. All right, I want to move on to Jalen Milroe. Reported today, Jalen Milroe will be making an official visit with the Seahawks. One of the Seahawks' 30 visits will be used on Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. Milroe obviously played under former Huskies head coach Kalen DeBoer, also played under Nick Saban 2 years ago, so he's got experience with one of the best coaches of all time, and Kalen DeBoer, who I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but again, a solid coach. Very, very temporarily, Jalen Milroe worked with Ryan Grubb, former Seahawks offensive coordinator. That was only for a little bit before Grubb ended up getting hired from Alabama to Seattle. But Milroe, makes an interesting case. Again, looking at some of these numbers, the yards don't look great, 2,844, but he is a bit of a dual threat quarterback, so you have to factor that in. 16 touchdowns. Again, not a ton, not amazing, to be honest. 148.8 passer rating, 64.3% completion, and 11 interceptions. So it's okay. His stats could have been better last year. Let's just put it that way. His stats could have been better last year. He actually had a better season as a junior playing under Nick Saban. But the key is to remember with Jalen Milroe is two things. Number one, he clearly has the physical traits. And number two is the dual threat makes him a bit of a more productive than these stats give off, because I didn't include the rushing stats, and perhaps I should have. Jalen Milroe would make an interesting case, and here's what I'll say about him. I don't think I would go Jalen Milroe any higher than the third round. I don't think he certainly is not a first-round quarterback, and I don't think that he makes much sense as a second-round pick either. I don't think that is, what we're looking at with Jalen Milroe. I think Jalen Milroe is more of a third-round guy. I think that he's probably maybe even a fourth-round guy, but I think he's a late day two sort of a pick. The Seahawks do have 2 third-round picks, so they can be flexible if they want him. If he's there, they could potentially try to trade up if they think someone else is going to take him. I like that they're interested. I like that they are being proactive, trying to find a new backup quarterback, because I don't think that Sam Howell is that long-term answer. I certainly don't think Sam Howell has starting potential, and I definitely don't think that Sam Howell, I don't trust him as a backup. I like the idea of getting younger. I like the idea of finding a second or third round quarterback. I would personally not favor Jalen Milroe over a Quinn Ewers or a Jackson Dart, but I do understand the appeal. I think he will be a good NFL backup quarterback, maybe even, a solid starter someday. I just don't see the frontline potential there. I think he is more of a safe pick to be a good backup than a risky pick to be a starter. So that's why I'm saying third or fourth round, even maybe even fourth or fifth round. Not opposed to it, but don't take him in the second round, please. And with that being said, I want to just quickly go over, there's a new detailed mock draft from CBS Sports on who exactly the Seahawks should pick. Here's what we got. CBS predicting round 1, pick 18. The Seahawks will select safety Nick Emanwari out of South Carolina. I'll talk about him tomorrow. He's a 20th ranked prospect, second best safety in the draft. Not sure if we really need to focus on a safety right now, so I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that. Then they have us taking interior lineman Jonah Saviana out of Arizona, the junior, with the 50th pick in round 2 to help fortify the offensive line. Again, I like that pick. Then they go pick Jack Betch with round 2, pick 52. They actually trade up to get him from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jack Betch coming out of TCU, a guy that I don't know very much about, haven't really focused on him much, but I will look into him tomorrow as well. Then in round 3, they pick Shamar Turner out of I don't know where Shamar Turner's out of. It doesn't say. He's coming into the NFL draft. And they have him. He's a defensive lineman. They have him going with the 82nd pick. And then the Seahawks take another edge rusher, Princely Umanamalia out of Ole Miss with the 92nd pick. Again, they have us trading that. That one's coming from the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, that's the Geno Smith pick, right. Then in round 4, they have us picking Quinn Ewers as quarterback. I like that as a 4th-round pick. I think that he would make a lot of sense. I think that 4th round is maybe a steal for him. He's ranked as the 5th best quarterback in the draft. Round 5, they take Jack Nelson, offensive tackle out of Wisconsin. Then they pick tight end Jalen Conyers out of Texas Tech. Then in round 7, they don't have any 6th-round picks. And then in round 7, they would be taking Kobe King out of Penn State, a linebacker, and Donovan Edwards, a running back out of Michigan. I think that's a solid mock draft. Again, I'm not necessarily sure if I agree with taking the safety in the first round. A little bit confused about that, and I think that there's a couple guys that they may have us drafting on a little too high. Got some guys that are ranked a little bit lower than where they have us taking them, so I'm not entirely sure if I agree with all that, but I do think it's an interesting mock draft for sure, and we're going to look at some of those players in more detail tomorrow. With that all being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been another episode of Seahawks Now. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and comment, what do you think about Jalen Milroe in Seattle? We'll see you tomorrow, and as always, until next time, go Seahawks.